Welcome to Boss Up Goddess. I'm Elizabeth Ann Atkins, and I interview trailblazing women who share their wisdom with all of us to help us live bigger, better, and bolder. Tonight is very special because I get to favorite people on the whole planet. My sister, Catherine Greenspan, and she actually asked if she could be a guest tonight to talk about how we can all boss up to be our best in our wellness by engaging in preventative health care that might be a little unpleasant. So, Catherine, what do you want to talk about tonight?
I want to talk about getting a colonoscopy after you turn 50.
Mhm. So, why now? Obviously, a colonoscopy, for those of you who don't understand, is what, Catherine?
So, a colonoscopy is where it's a surgery where they put you out with a propofol. And so you're unconscious, you're asleep, and the proctologist or the butt doctor um, puts a big tube with a camera up your butt, and it goes all 6 feet up to through your colon all the way like towards your appendix and stuff.
Wow. Okay. So, why
Yeah.
would someone need a colonoscopy?
So it's really interesting why someone would need a colonoscopy. Um, Doctors usually say that when you turn 50, you should have one if you don't have any issues beforehand, just as a baseline to make sure there's nothing going on in your colon, because colon cancer is so prevalent. And because of the colonoscopy, it is so, I don't know if it's just easy to check. It is the most, in my mind, having had one, it is the most easy to check. It's the easiest way to check inside your body.
Mhm. Okay, so it's a preventative to go inside and make certain that everything looks okay in the intestines.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So I don't know if you remember the movie from the early 90s or maybe the 80s with Rick Moranis, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yes.
Yeah, so Rick Moranis and the kids get shrunk and then they go inside the body. So this is actually an opportunity to look inside the body. I just want to share something with you. So you may remember back in 2001, I had a grand mal seizure and I went to the ER, got a CAT scan, and then I got an MRI. And this is my actual MRI. And if you can see that little white dot, that was my tumor, the white dot inside my skull. So this is one way to look inside the body to see what's going on. We
With
don't
an
normally
with an MRI, you're saying?
with an MRI or a CAT scan, but really what the radiologist and the neurosurgeon, they were looking at it going, well, it kind of looks like a meningioma, meaning it's growing in the meninges, the lining of the brain and the spinal cord. But and meningiomas are like 97, 99% benign. But the only way we're going to really know what's going on inside my skull is by opening up my skull, taking this thing out, and sending it off for pathology. I'm really fortunate that I went through that and I didn't have any residual side effects and it came back as benign. I'm so fortunate. The reason that it's white on this is because they gave me a MRI contrast dye, gadolinium, I think it's called. And it's vascular, and tumors are vascular. So when you get the dye in your body, any tumors will light up. They'll be bright white like that. Well, so after I had that removed, I still get recurring MRIs to make sure there's no regrowth of, and so when I had an MRI in 2008 and they gave me the dye, I felt my throat start to close and I got super itchy on my chest. And afterwards, they said, don't ever get contrast dye again. You're allergic to it and you could go into anaphylactic shock. Okay, that's good to know, but I still have to get repeat MRIs. So now this is what my MRI looks like. And somebody has to decipher the little, you can see this in this one where my skull is, where the piece that they took off and put back on is sort of elevated. I have 4 holes in my head and I can feel the screws. But the point is, without the contrast, what they're looking at is the MRI, and they're trying to decipher, okay, is this normal? Is this regrowth? What's going on here? Fortunately, 19 years later, I don't have any regrowth, but I will keep going. So my point in bringing up the MRI inside the brain, which is very much like almost everywhere in our body, is we don't know what's going on inside. So if we have a growth like in our arm, they could do a biopsy and pull a piece of it out. Okay. But do they know like all the details and nuances of that? It's still inside the body, and the whole arm isn't going to come up. If it's inside the skull, they've got to open up the skull and lift it up. The reason the colonoscopy is like so miraculous is because they can put a camera in there and they can look up your butt and look at your whole colon. And it's just like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And then the coolest thing is, if they see this machine that this tube, whatever, with the light and the camera is amazing, because if they see a polyps can sometimes, I think the statistic, I don't remember the statistic, but some percentage of polyps are precancerous. They can, while they're in there, the tube with the light and the scope, it's got this little clipper thing that they can like clip off the polyp and like retract it and save it and keep winding their way back out of your butt, and then send it off to pathology. And they can say that's a non-cancerous polyp, that's a precancerous polyp, we're going to need to keep an eye on this, you're going to have to do it more frequently. But the whole point is, what other part of the body, except our mouths and our noses and maybe our ears, can we look inside and see what's going on?
Wow, that's fascinating. That is fascinating. So I love it. I love how excited you are. It reminds me of when Katie Couric's husband, Jay anyway, he died of colon cancer many years ago, and she was on a mission, and it was way before anybody was talking about colonoscopy. It's like a really embarrassing concept of, sticking something up your butt, and it's just squeamish, right? And you have to be asleep, right? You were asleep, and did you feel any pain, or was it?
So it's really funny. I scheduled it last year, and I really, really didn't want to do it. The idea of, everybody says, oh, the prep is worse than the actual procedure. Well, like the envisioning the prep, but was like, okay, excessive diarrhea for a couple of days or nights, okay, fine. But I really couldn't wrap my head around the fact that I was going to be unconscious, and somebody was going to put a camera on a tube up my butt. Like, how are you okay with that? Like, and so I canceled my first appointment and I rescheduled it.
Oh, wow.
And then I canceled my second appointment and rescheduled it.
Oh my gosh.
And then I canceled my third, and they said, we can't reschedule you. You're clearly not going to go through with this. So you've got to find another gastro doc to do it.
Wow.
So that was in 2019. And then the pandemic came and nobody was doing anything. And I just, I think I kept thinking I should just do it. I should just do it. I should just do it. And my doctor, my regular doctor, when I saw her, she's really awesome. She's like probably 40. And she said she had one because she was asking me all the questions. And she said, it's really not that horrible. And I was telling her, well, I can't wrap my head around the fact that I'm going to be unconscious and somebody's going to put a tube up my butt. And she said, just think of it this way. That doctor has made a choice to do that. There's some reason, some curiosity that doctor has to do that. And she said, and thank God they do.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And so I just had this whole shift of like feeling grateful that there are people in the world who choose this profession, who take this camera and take a look inside and say, all good. You're good for another 10 years.
Wow. That's awesome. Wait, you don't need another one for 10 years?
Yeah, that's just it. You get one. If everything looks good, you don't have to get another one for 10 years. Now, if you have one and you have a bunch of precancerous polyps, they might say 5 years or, your own different plan. But yeah, 10 years.
So what's the prep?
Okay, so the prep is hilarious. It is, and I don't know how you'll do this because you eat like a bucket of kale a day, but so mine was on Friday, and starting on Tuesday, I had to start eating white only food, meaning white rice, white noodles, white cheese.
I don't eat any of that.
I know. I don't know what you'll do. I don't know.
Did you eat
So
yogurt?
I think you can eat white yogurt. I don't eat yogurt regularly. So
I don't either.
On Tuesday, I had noodles. That's what I had all day long, noodles. And then, and chicken broth. You can eat chicken broth. And then the second day, that was my white rice day. So all I had that day was white rice. And then, so that was Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I couldn't eat anything after 8 a.m., but I thought, I'm not eating breakfast because there's only one thing that's going to happen to this, whatever breakfast I eat. So let's just go for it and stop eating. So starting on Thursday, I just had clear liquids. I had some chicken broth and here, I'm going to send this to you. So part of the prep is you have to take a quadruple dose of Dulcolax laxative. So I have some extra. So I'm going to send this to you for yours.
Thanks.
So that was Friday. That was Thursday morning. So that was like a gut bomb Thursday morning.
Gut bomb.
And then Thursday at 1:00 in the afternoon, I had to drink 2 bottles of this Miralax, which is like you dissolve it in water. So it was like 8 ounces of this crystal powder dissolved in 1/2 gallon of water. And then I had to drink 1 8-ounce glass every hour. That was the killer. But it really wasn't until that evening that it really was like, oh my God, this is real. Get this over with. And that was really, but it was really only about an hour and a half of like questioning my existence. Like, what is happening to my body?
Oh, wait, during the prep Thursday night? Why?
Because I hadn't eaten anything since Wednesday. So by Thursday night, I took the bombs, the mini gut bombs or the colon bombs. And then I put in like 8 ounces of Miralax. So I was like massive, that's just the nastiest part. But I learned the next day when I went in for my procedure was actually at 1 p.m. And then that morning I was totally fine. I hadn't eaten for a day and a half. I was just having water. And then I couldn't have water after 11. So then when I got to the hospital, I had nurses are the best.
Yeah.
They are so amazing. So my nurse was really cool nurse. And then my everybody says, how was your prep? And it's like, what? Why would you ask how was the prep? I mean, anyway, so then when I got wheeled. So, this is the best part of being super nearsighted. So I'm legally blind when I take off my glasses, so I can't see anything. So I was in the room, in the gown. She put the IV in me where the propofol, where she was going to keep me asleep with that. And then I took off my glasses and then they wheeled, so I can't see anything. Wheel me into the operatory or whatever. It's dark, the lights are low. And I was thinking, I'm so glad I can't see this because this seems like a scene out of coma.
The
Remember that
movie?
movie? Yeah. Yeah, super scary. And so it's totally blurry and I'm just like, I'm so glad. But and then my my anesthesiology nurse was amazing. She was so fun. Oh, super fun. And then when the gastroenterologist comes in, I can't see him because I'm so blind. And I'm like, okay, there's the blue cap, the blue shirt, and then he had the mask on. And I could see like the darkness of his eyes. So it was like, I don't even know if this guy has any eyeballs. And I was like, this is so cool. I cannot see this man who's about to put this tube up my butt and look at my colon. I love this. I have never been more happy to be so blind without my glasses. And he walks in and he says, how was your prep? And I said, oh, it was really fun. So then there's another guy in there, a tech guy, I guess. So it's the three of them, and they've got some really lovely music playing. And then they rolled me on my side, told me to do like move my legs in a certain way so they could do what they needed to do with easy access. And I remember saying to the guy, Dr. Stewart, I really hope you tell me you don't want to see me for 10 years after this. And then the woman's name was Jackie, the anesthesiology nurse. She's started putting the stuff in my arm. And then the next thing I knew, I was saying, did I just have a colonoscopy? Like that. 40 minutes and nothing whatsoever.
Wow.
No, it was amazing. And that was when I think I said I wanted, that's every day. I think I've asked you if you've scheduled yours yet. So
Yeah.
it was just like
Wow.
by the time Friday morning came and I had done they call it the clean out. By the time I had done the clean out, I was like, piece of cake. No big deal.
Wow.
This is going to be done by this evening. No big deal. All that stress, all those cancellations, no big deal. No big deal whatsoever.
Wow.
Oh,
And now
but
you're
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh,
Well,
well,
now
so
you're encouraged. Now you're encouraging everybody to get theirs.
right.
Right?
So boss up, goddess, and get a colonoscopy if you're over 50.
Right. So I love your excitement and the way you told it. That was so not just awesome. It was really cool. Like not the clinical, and this is what happens next. That was really fun, Catherine. So listen, our dear family friend, Judge Kevin Robbins in Detroit, he had a friend who was dying of stage 4 colon cancer. Now, oftentimes people can have stage 4 colon cancer and have zero symptoms, or they have symptoms and they just blow them off of, indigestion or whatever else. And so Judge Robbins' friend was like, man, you better go get a colonoscopy. You got better just go be on top of that. Judge Robbins went and got a colonoscopy and he had cancer. He had colon cancer and he underwent all the treatments and he's thankfully rocking his life now. He's a dad, he's a husband, he's a judge, he's, super healthy. And he's been celebrated on calendars and all kinds of showcases to show the importance, the life-saving importance of a colonoscopy, because had he not gone to get the colonoscopy, he wouldn't have gotten the treatment. And we don't know what the outcome might have been because he didn't know he had it. So he's a true life story, dear family friend who's proof that colonoscopies can save your life. And Catherine's approach is, just be vigilant about getting it done early so that you're not in that position. So if there is any like a precancerous polyp, which is like a little growth on the wall of the intestine, right?
Yeah.
That it can be caught early. And if you need any treatment, it can be done.
Yeah. And it's interesting when I got scheduled for, there's like a pre-scheduling appointment. And the two women in Dr. Stewart's office were, one was saying that you have to sign a release whenever this happens. And she was telling me what the risks were. And she said, one of the risks is that the scope can perforate the colon. And she said, the way that you know that is afterwards you have pain. She said, if you have pain after a colonoscopy, you've got a problem. So there's no pain at all involved unless something goes wrong. And then the other woman who's in charge of like making sure that everybody eats the diet, the bland white diet. And the reason it's bland is because if you've ever eaten beets, you know what they do to your insides. So purple food, red food, you can't eat that because it can color tint your colon on the inside. On the inside, for sure. Not the outside.
Wow.
Doesn't matter.
And
But
so
I was asking her, I was like, do people ever like try and cheat and like sneak food, like thinking nobody's going to catch it? And she said, yes, all the time. And people will eat things like, she said there was a guy who had a handful of sunflower seeds. Like you've got nothing in your entire digestive tract except a handful of sunflower seeds, and you think somebody's not going to notice that? And then she said there was a woman who ate a tomato. And this is the whole boss up goddess thing. Just follow the rules. One time in 10 years, you don't get to eat. For you, Elizabeth, you can't eat your green drink for 3 days. I know it's a bummer, but it's one time in 10 years.
I don't know what I would eat, but okay.
You'd probably just eat white rice.
Rice makes me deliriously sleepy. It doesn't work out in my system.
Chicken broth?
Well, anyway, huh?
Well, I think that you'll have to
I'll find cauliflower.
You can't eat any fruits or vegetables.
Oh.
I know, it's a problem, but boss up goddess.
Yeah, for real. I mean, it's worth it. It's just a delayed gratification.
Right.
Wow, that's fascinating. So the reason again that colonoscopies are so important is because the average American's diet is called SAD, Standard American Diet, which is super low fiber and high sodium, high fat, high additive, high preservative, high garbage. So the garbage goes into the intestines, all these chemicals, and there's no fiber, which moves food through your intestines, which Catherine said are 6 feet long. And so stuff just sits there and rots. It's disgusting. And they say that red meat gets this leathery texture and like just kind of sits there. And people who do like a cleanse or change their diet or get a what's that thing where they stick
High
the hose?
colonic.
High colonic. The high colonic is something that people do for health reasons or just like a maintenance thing where there's a hose that squirts water up there and it like draws out all the stuff that might be stuck. And people who've gotten high colonic say that there's like pieces of old beef that's like
oh my
leather.
God, that's disgusting.
It's been there for years because I guess you can see the tube where all the stuff is coming out.
Why?
It is disgusting, but if people
why would you do that?
Because they're having a cleanse because they're suddenly realizing I want to change my life, my health.
Take 4 Dulcolax and drink 8 ounces of Miralax. That'll cleanse you.
But the point is the American diet is so high fat and low fiber. That's a recipe for stuff to just sit in the colon and rot and cause.
So I learned something really cool about the colon, and it's diverticulitis. All that means is that the inside of your colon has these folds. So I always thought diverticulitis was a disease of like overeating fast food. I really thought it was like a disease where something happened because you didn't eat a high fiber diet. What happens when you have diverticulitis, those folds, is that if you don't eat a lot of fiber or any fiber, the food that you are eating can get stuck in those folds because there's no like cauliflower, kale, broccoli, cabbage pushing it through. So diverticulitis is not a bad thing. The problem becomes if you have diverticulitis, which again, colonoscopy will tell you if you have it, it's just that low fiber diet or no fiber diet.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Wow, that's
exciting.
fascinating. Oh my gosh. So, what about the idea of getting some type of preventative experience during COVID? Was that a factor?
No, I mean, so I had a mammogram back in May when they were just sort of figuring it out. They weren't quite sure, and everybody was sort of tentative, over the top, or not quite sure. By now, if a business hasn't figured it out, especially a doctor's office, chances are they're not in business anymore. They've got it figured out. They've got the
Mm-hmm.
deep cleaning, they've got the screening people at the door before they can even come in the building. There's no, I mean, I even went to the dentist this summer and they've got it figured out because they have a business to run and they're going to figure it out so that people will keep coming to them and trusting them. And the only way people trust them is by going in and feeling comfortable. Like I wasn't wearing a mask, obviously, because I had oxygen up my nose. Um, but everybody else was, and I didn't for 1 second feel concerned at all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's really good. That's great because I think that's keeping a lot of people away from
Well, even
doctors.
when I went for my before the colonoscopy, when I went to the doctor's office to learn about the prep and sign the disclaimer, they had blocked off the door into the office and diverted people around, and there was a sign that said, please use the restroom and wash your hands. So they weren't even letting anybody inside the office until I mean, washing hands is on the honor system, but I mean, what I'm saying is they figured it out. There are things in place. It's not like you
Mhm.
just walk in and, you know, the old days.
Wow, that's awesome. And then another thing is, does insurance pay for a preventative procedure like this?
Yes. Yes, and yes. It does. And this is why boss up goddess and do it. Anything that's covered at 100% preventative in because our healthcare tends not to be preventative. It's more like all the big issues with healthcare in our country are because of treating people, not preventing. So all the preventative care that whatever your insurance is, take advantage of it.
Mhm. Wow, great advice. Is there anything else you want to say about the importance of getting a colonoscopy?
No, just do it.
Okay. Did you lose weight?
I don't think so.
Oh, did you chow when you got to eat finally?
No, I didn't want to because my body, like, I have not had any sugar since then, and it's been a week. So,
Oh.
yeah, it's like I'm kind of like really excited that my body was cleaned out, and I don't want to like go shove as your guest yesterday said, a chocolate cake in my mouth. Oh,
Lisa
but the
Duke was hilarious.
she was, but the woman who goes over the diet portion at Dr. Stewart's office was telling me that when she had it done, she decided because she was curious to know if she had food allergies. And so when she was all cleaned out, she said every week she would introduce something. Like she started out just very
Wow.
slowly. Like she wasn't eating any dairy, any wheat, but she basically added things to see if they had an effect after a week or two. So
Mm.
it's a really unique place to be. And yeah, it's just once every 10 years. So what's just do it.
Wow, that's awesome. I'm so excited that you were so passionate about sharing this message. It's really awesome. Really, really awesome. Thank
I
you.
just realized after I did it, like how ridiculous was it that I canceled all those appointments? Like it's
Yeah.
total boss up goddess. It's like just do it.
Yeah. Right, because there was fear holding you back and anxiety. And that's when fear and anxiety, that's a major theme on this show because fear and anxiety hold us back from so many things, from being our best selves. And you can't be your best self if you're sick. So
Well,
if you,
and maybe some people are not doing it because they're scared of what they'll find. So if you're scared
oh,
of what will be found, consider the alternative. If you don't do it and you're scared of something being in there, how do you justify not getting um, confirmation that you're all good? You're good for
right,
10 years, or
right.
that there is something. Maybe you do have some polyps. Maybe you do have colon issues. I mean, find out and deal with them if that's the
Mm-hmm.
case. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, and again, going back to my meningioma, here's an opportunity to see inside the body.
Yes, yes. I love it. I love that. That's awesome. Thank you. So how long does it take for them to give you your results back?
Um, I think that they called me on Tuesday, so just a couple of days.
Mm. So my doctor told me there's one where you can actually be awake and watch it on a screen happening.
No. No, we have a friend. We have a friend who doesn't do drugs with dental treatments or anything, and she was awake during hers. I don't why. No. No, thank you. Oh, here's the other thing.
What?
This is the alternative. Have you seen the commercials of the couple walking through the park and then there's this little box about this big with arms and a head and feet, and it's basically an ad for mail in a poop sample and get your poop evaluated to see if your colon is okay?
I've heard
It's
about that. Is that
yeah,
legit?
it is legit and it can tell you a lot, but it is not looking inside the 6 foot length of your colon.
Right, right.
So if you're willing to poop in a bag or a box or whatever and mail it in, just do the Dukalax. And then you'll know. Instead of going, oh, well, I know my poop's okay. And there's nothing so wrong with my colon that it's showing up in my poop. But what do I really know?
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
It's not an alternative. I mean, it is an alternative. It's an alternative to not doing something, but it's not a colonoscopy.
Right, 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 right. Wow, that's really powerful. All right, then. Anything else?
Well, there's also a scope where they can go down your mouth, down into your throat, and check out your esophagus as well. So
Did you
just
have that done?
no, because I don't have. There's nothing going on. But like for people who have GERD really badly, or
Oh,
they generally get those regularly, or inflammation in the esophagus. But that's another Honey, I Shrunk the Kids camera in the body method.
mhm. When I was in college, I used to volunteer and get paid to do these experiments, and they actually did a thing down my lungs. So I got to look inside. It was the same kind of scope, and I got to see inside my lungs. It was really cool.
Wow.
It's really neat when you see inside your body. You want to treat it with tremendous respect. And I had the honor of watching bariatric surgery, um, weight loss surgery. And it
Gastric
was,
bypass or something.
yeah, the gastric bypass. And so, and they used, it was robotic surgery. So they drill holes and the camera goes down in. So it's not cut open, the body, but these cameras go down these little tubes. And when I saw what abdominal fat looks like, abdominal fat looks like a giant plate of melted cheddar cheese. It's orangish yellow. It's glistening like melted cheese, and it's thick, and it's all the organs are like floating in it. It's
Oh,
really, really gross. And then abdominal fat is like the most dangerous kind of fat, as opposed to like somebody who's pear-shaped and their fat's on their butt or hips, because the abdominal fat is around those vital organs and it's close to the heart. And literally, the organs are swimming in this sea of orange melted cheese. I went home that day and I ate a plate of broccoli for dinner because I was like, hell no. I am not going to have, it's something you can control, unless a person has some kind of illness that makes their body be obese like that, which some people do. But for the most part, we can control our weight through diet and exercise. And I said, if I have the ability to control that not happening, because the comorbidities that go along with obesity, including the higher risk of cancer, and chances are a higher risk of colon cancer due to a terrible diet. Low fiber, high fat, high sodium, high additive, high preservative, high chemical, fake foods. Then it's all connected. So I love what you said about how your body was cleansed and now you want to keep it clean. That's awesome.
I have had sausage multiple times.
Sausage.
I love sausage.
You do?
Yeah.
What kind?
Like kielbasa sausage.
Ew.
I also eat a lot of, like yesterday I had I eat a lot of fiber, but it's not all or nothing. It's not all or nothing.
Yeah, moderation is good.
Yeah.
My refrigerator looks like the Amazon forest.
Oh my God.
Like you open it and green stuff goes.
That's hilarious.
Uh-huh. So yeah, it's all about what works for you, moderation and that awareness and action are key to having wellness in your body. So
my next action is I'm going to mail you these Dulcolax.
Okay. Great. Awesome. Is there anything else, Catherine? This is amazing.
No, I think that's all. That's enough.
That was a lot. Thank you for sharing about your colonoscopy experience.
Of course. Hopefully I'll be back in 10 years to report on the colonoscopy part 2.
All healthy, all good results, all negative. Yay. Love that. And how beautiful also that your meningioma has been clean. Your scar has been clean for
19
years.
Yeah.
I would say I'm a writer, not a mathematician.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, boss up goddess. Go get your colonoscopy. Schedule it. Get it on the calendar.
I love it. So do you go through your primary care physician?
Yes.
Okay. So you call your primary care physician and they're going to write you a prescription and tell you where to go get it, correct?
I think it's all electronic. So they're going to send the referral to the gastro guy or gal. I don't know are there any, maybe there are gastro gals. I don't know.
I'm sure there are gastroenterologists who, if I said it right, who are women. Absolutely.
Yeah, you did.
Gastroenterologists for sure. Yeah. And you know what? You were talking about what a blessing that there's doctors who choose to do this procedure. You said that about your brain surgeon. You said you loved your brain surgeon when she declared, I love tumors.
Yeah.
And you knew you were in the right hands, right?
Right. Dr. Hillary Fleming. Yeah. She's retired now, but yeah, because I got 6 second opinions when I had the seizure and the tumor, and I went to 3 neurologists and 3 neurosurgeons, and she was the one who said to me, I love tumors. She had a PhD and an MD, and I was like, and she had these long slender fingers, so I could just envision her, even though she wasn't using her fingers. But yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Fleming, for taking such great care of Catherine. It
Thank you,
was
Dr.
so,
Fleming.
thank you, Dr. Fleming. We love you. It was so funny when the day of her surgery, Catherine was like super calm and they shaved her head and she was in the room. They were getting prepping her for surgery. And me and my mother were a mess. And Catherine was just super calm and cool. It was awesome. It was awesome. And she came through that procedure that could result in a lot of residual problems of speech and cognitive impairments and ability to walk. But, she
Yeah.
had zero residual, zero,
Yeah.
zero, zero. Thank you, God, for that.
I'm super grateful. I'm lucky.
Yes. Yes. Oh my gosh. All right. So, the miracles of modern medicine, we are extremely grateful. And since we have the opportunity to get this preventative care, Catherine says,
Boss up, goddess. Schedule it.
yes, thank you very much for that powerful message tonight. All right. Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
listening to me tell my tale and share my enthusiasm about colonoscopies.
That was awesome. Thank you, pal.
You're welcome.
And thank you, all of you, for watching Boss Up Goddess, where I get to interview trailblazing women like Catherine Greenspan, my sister, who share their wisdom to help us all live bigger, bolder, better, and healthier. So remember, Boss Up Goddess, and remember that you have the power. If you are getting value out of this program, please do like, share, subscribe, comment, and click the notification bell so you'll know every time I go live or upload a new video. And if you enjoyed watching me and Catherine together, please join us every Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time for our show, 10,000 Things You Need to Know About Writing, Publishing, and Promoting Your Book. We have a great time and you learn lots of new information if you're a writer. So we'll see you next time. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful night.